is nothing but a shit show. And if you don't give a fuck what people say, you're better off, really. If I gave a fuck what people thought about me, Jesus Christ. Do it. Let's fucking wrestle. Fuck you and your goddamn 4 tits. I will poke your fucking tits out. I will bash you in the head, and I will, I'll bring you down the street, bitch. Let's fight. Maybe that's why I got told no a lot. Maybe that's why I didn't get the big money or anything like that, because I basically told everyone to fuck off. Listen, asshole.
I just can't when I watch that. I just can't. I just fucking crack up. I just can't.
I love it. Listen here, asshole. I'm telling you, she was saying that to me.
Yes. Not really. You're not Mr. Asshole. You're Mr. Seed Man. You've been spreading your seed all day.
All day.
Can you explain what kind of seed you've been spreading?
Yeah, it's called weed and feed. So yeah.
Weed and seed.
Yeah, weed and feed, not to be confused with the weed some of your colleagues like, but weed and feed for the grass. Yes, ma'am. And not that kind of grass either.
You worked your ass off today, brother.
Yeah, we've got a bet on the over-under of the number of times I'm going to call you ma'am tonight. Because
who's the best? Wait, okay, let's back up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trash Talk. Your host with the most, MADUSA, made in the USA, and my co-host, Mr. Red with the plan, Mr. Seed Spreader, Mr. Controversial New York Yankee, go Minnesota Twins guy.
Yeah, Seed Spreader. And I'm wearing Dusty and Magnum. See, I know how to play the hits. It's America's team back in the 80s.
Dusty and Magnum. I just spoke to him the other day about my fucking Madusa figurine coming out with Power Town. I guess they're going to be hitting around May.
Hopefully they're not Chinese.
Hopefully they're not China with all the damn tariffs. 135%.
You gathered what I was saying. Our president is our president. God bless us. God bless us all.
You need to fail before you become a success.
You don't have to tank the fucking country, though.
Yeah, you sometimes have to clean what everybody else's mess up to fucking get ahead. Yes, you fucking do.
Oh, I work in the automotive industry, in case nobody knows.
We're going to say the Chinese automotive. Let's bring the fuckers here.
Everybody's assholes have puckered when they heard all these tariffs being announced and counter tariffs and blah, blah, blah. So, although it seems like we've been right on track at work. So, because we are no longer on
all
Tuesdays.
Of the orders you already have and already fucking months out, already bought and paid for. So don't get your asshole in a fucking puckering fucking puck.
Yeah, well, they're talking $12,000 to $15,000 markup difference because here's the spoiler alert, folks.
Well, who's going to buy your shit anyway?
If a company pays a tariff, they're going to pass it on to the consumer. I promise.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna get me all fired up, but we're not even talking about Mercedes Moné. I mean, really.
Oh, or Britt Baker. Is she really gone from AEW?
Did she get fired?
Did she get fired?
Hey, let's ask the chat. So
chat.
Wessel Votes, that's WESTLEVOETS, posted in a very serious way that Britt Baker's been released from AEW. I have not been able to confirm
who believes that, really?
But because she is a favorite of Trash Talk with Madusa, we want to know if anyone else has heard that Britt Baker got released. We know she's sitting her ass in Florida, maybe in the dentist chair. Digi says, I have not been able to confirm as well. But we saw this has been all over the place that Britt Baker
Damn it, Digi. Maybe we need to go to her dentist.
Yeah, well, you're the one that lives in Florida. I volunteer you to go sit in her chair.
I don't know. She'd probably drill a hole through my fucking tooth. I mean, as much as she respected what I had to say over there, fuck that.
Well, she didn't have a lot to respect anybody, and maybe that's part of the problem.
Evidently, karma is a wonderful thing. Anyway,
Wonderful.
so our introduction here, my dear. So I am going to be at Squared Circle Pro, which is awesome because I'm thinking about getting some Alundra Blaze retro t-shirts made for that show. Now, what I'm wearing here, guys, this is one of a kind. I mean, I think I have 1, 2, or 3 of these. That's it. But it has Madusa here. This is Madusa Michelli. This was my very first t-shirt. I mean, it's printed. This was made in 1980, probably 4. This is a 1984 t-shirt. This is a real original. And it's not even falling apart, thank God. But it's just, this is my uncle actually drew this. He's a great artist, and he thought it'd be cool, looking like the Madusa snakes, but I never wanted to go that way. I kind of like just ventured off from the snake thing. But now full circle, I've, there's a few surprises coming up, but I think I'm going to do a few Alundra Blaze, Believe in the Blaze t-shirts and sell them at the Squared Circle Expo there in Indianapolis on April 25th. And then I'll be at the gathering in August, which is confirmed that Red will be there as well. It'd be kind of cool if you and I set up a little interview podcast thing there. We need to work that out. And
You're the one with all the stroke. So you need to call your people.
Oh, that's a man's job. I have nothing to do with that.
And we're off the rails, and that took all of...
Okay, so Steepo Tar says Britt Baker is still on the site's roster at the moment. Okay. Yeah. It's probably a rumor then.
And the way that rumors gain traction on the internet wrestling community does not quite, it is what it is. They, I don't know, they have not used her. And I think that wrestling's probably better without her on television, sucking up oxygen out of the room.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's pretty. It's about as bad as your Visa card joke. Okay.
Well, that one we'll get to.
We're going to get to Tiffany and Miss Titty Stratton. Yeah. I mean, Tiffany Stratton, Titty Stratton. Where'd that come from? Tiffany Stratton.
Well, I have to be careful. Steven wants to say hi to you, Deuce.
Hi, Steven.
I always have to be careful not to say titty time when it's
I know.
Titty time.
I just came out titty Stratton.
They did it on purpose. I don't care what anybody says. They did it on purpose.
They said that?
No, Tiffy time and titty time. They did that on purpose. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I get it. Tiffy time. Okay.
I'll say this about her. She's one bad stitch away from a wardrobe malfunction because those clothes ain't getting any bigger on Tiffany.
No.
She has them form fitting.
Yes.
She looks very good in them. But she is one bad stitch away.
Fall under the lines of what Mickie James said on LFG, saying, I just don't understand. All of you women have your asses hanging out, and I just don't like looking at that.
Okay, so I'm going to set this up. In case anybody doesn't know, LFG is now a new show, Survivor Series style, like Survivor Series style, where these people trying to make it compete and whatnot. Mickie James went off about the way the women were dressed in bikinis. Now,
like they're lingerie models.
Lingerie models. I don't know if any of you in the chat watch wrestling. That's 100% facetious. I know you all watch wrestling.
But during her time and what they wore, it was less than lingerie.
Women don't dress conservatively inside of a wrestling ring. And you and I have talked about this before, Madusa. Sex sells. Sex sells. Men don't dress conservatively either. They're out there in shorts smaller than their underwear. So, what do you really think of Mickie James's commentary on the LFG?
Okay, so I support it. I do. But again, here we are talking out of the side of our mouth because we all have dressed that way. So it's hard. It's hard to even say or to preach because we've all done it almost. Me, I was almost a singlet girl, as y'all know, until I got to WCW and was forced to fucking look like a tramp. And then that's when I put in my notice because I wasn't doing that. So some people continue to do it, or some people say, hey, fuck off, I'm out of here, I'm retiring. So there's that. So I mean, I agree with her. I mean, a lot of these outfits are risque, but they're beautiful. They're just beautifully engineered. I mean, we haven't had really a malfunction bad. I mean, I know they're spending thousands and thousands on these outfits, including a robe or a ring jacket or their boots. And my God, it's not easy to be beautiful, I guess. So that's not mentioning the fucking hair and extensions and body tans and teeth whitening and fillers and injections and whatever the fuck else they're doing. I don't know. I don't know. But to Mickey James' comment, I understand. It's horrible to see a woman bend over and their ass is just, there's just a sliver of it in the crack of their ass and you see nothing but butt cheeks, which you said sex sells. But they don't do that to the guy. So I am going to back that up with shame on the organization and the camera for letting them sit there for 5 seconds and just stare at that when they don't do that, to the package on the dude. You know what I'm saying? Not that we want to see that shit either, but it's just disgusting how it's heavily sided on one thing. But again, women have more sexually parts. I don't know. I don't know. It's just, it is what it is.
I thought you were done because I was going to say, first and foremost, speak for yourself. Ricky Starks can wear whatever size of wrestling gear he chooses to wear. Secondly, that would be the North American champion. Secondly, what do you make seriously, though, of, like, for instance, the Stephanie Valkyrie spot? She does the figure 4 over the head with the legs, face down. Her ass is in the air, and she's slamming her opponent's face into the mat.
Yeah, it looks like she's having sex with them.
Is going freaking bananas over there on commentary, and it's part of the shtick, Deuce.
I don't like it. It's kind of like La Rosa Negra. She used to, throw her opponent into the corner and come running and take her tush and rub it in her face. And I said, as long as I'm agent here at NWA, and if I ever see you do that again, I will pull you out of the ring myself. You don't need to do that. It's disgusting and distasteful. This is not, Vegas show. You don't need to do that to get over. You want to be taken seriously. So I've seen that move, and the first thing I thought was, I don't like it. She's a hell of a better wrestler to get to have something else than that. I don't know. I don't even think it's devastating looking. It just looks like one big thrusting show.
And I think that's the point. And I'm not trying to be a smartass. I mean, I think it's the point. It's a sexualized move. It gets the reaction from Booker T. And let's face it, we've talked about Booker before, but he's just selling the shit out of it because it's part of the shtick. It's part of the act.
But shame on the commentators for doing that. They just, I don't know why. But anyway, she needs to be talked to. If it was me as an agent, I'd be like, think of something else.
I'm saying, and I don't know because I didn't ask Stephanie Valkyrie, I think
she's much better.
I think she's okay with it.
Of course she is.
Because it's part of the shit. That's what I'm saying. It's part of her deal.
Well, if that's part of her deal, then, I mean, I don't like it. I don't, some people might, they might not. Me, I don't care for it. And so what will happen is I discredit then. I start discrediting and I just don't have any interest in that wrestler. I don't care how good they are. I don't know. It is what it is.
No, I 100% get it. I just know that they're trying very hard to get the NXT women over.
But why do you have to do that shit? Are we back there again? Do we need to do that shit? We work so hard and tried so hard to get past all that crap. You don't need to fucking do that. I mean, if you're going to be looked at and as an athlete and taken serious, I mean, you don't need to do it.
And I genuinely think that was Mickie James's point, because in that commentary she said,
I back her up though on that.
We worked hard to get past having to be out there in our lingerie.
Yes.
Now, I don't really remember Mickie James in her lingerie too much. She's a very beautiful woman. She wore long pants, if I'm not mistaken, and a cutoff shirt. And she was the Trish Stalker and all that to start. And that's how she won the world title and whatever. But I don't remember her having to be out there in her lingerie. On the other hand, if she was, and I have forgotten it. I'm not saying she wasn't. I'm not discrediting her in any way, but I am saying that the wrestling business is show business, and it has been interwoven with, sexualization since its infancy, since it began.
Absolutely, it has, and it hasn't changed except more expensive outfits and bling to make it look more opulent. Fuck, I don't know.
Now let's talk about that. People always get hung up on these guaranteed contracts, and I know this wasn't in the notes at all, but you've gone down a rabbit hole I'm interested in. You mentioned it: hair, makeup, extensions, say eyelashes. I'm going to behave myself, but if you choose to have plastic surgery, I imagine outfits and all that, Deuce, I imagine all of that's on the performer, meaning cost-wise.
Yes.
The company's not going to pay for, as an example, Charlotte Flair's robe that she's going to wear to WrestleMania 41. That will be on her to acquire and bring to the event. Is that correct?
I'm going to say 90% yes. There might be something where they'll want her in a specific robe or whatever, and then they want to be able to keep it and use it for, I don't know, appearance or museum purposes, and have her wear it once, and they pay for it. But I know I had a robe done by Olivia back in the day, and it cost me, I'm going to say back then it was like $8,000. Jesus Christ. I can only imagine what it costs now.
And if you guys don't know who Deuce just mentioned is Olivia Walker, she made several robes for all the wrestlers. She was Ric Flair's personal tailor for all his ornate robes. That's all Olivia Walker. Macho Man actually had somebody else, and I forget his name. But it was a Jim or something. But anyway, Olivia was the most sought after seamstress in wrestling for some time. And now Sandra, I believe her name is
AEW. Yeah.
Yeah. So, our buddy JD Hoop, he does the designs along with his business partner, and Sandra brings them to life by sewing them. So a lot of those, and she's there's a lady that sews. Her name is I want to say it's Sandra. She sews all Cody's stuff, even though he's in WWE.
Yeah.
So JD Hoop, our buddy who helped design a lot of Madusa's stuff here, expect to see his outfit design on WrestleMania when Cody walks to the ring against John Cena.
Yeah. See, I got a couple of my latest Madusa ones was done by Main Event Gear.
Okay.
Yeah, Main Event did a couple of mine, really cool ones. The black one, it has the M, where it goes like this, and it has the M like that. I mean, fucking hands down, amazing, really good. And so they're the ones that have been doing my stuff lately. Now there's a lot of great people out there that are making outfits for. Man, there's some out there that Jesus. I've heard some of these outfits cost $10,000. I'm like, what the? Y'all must be getting paid good. Because that was my paycheck for 6 months.
Yeah, we haven't shouted out JD for a while, so I thought I'd mention it. But he has done Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, Jade Cargill, Cody Rhodes, LA Knight, Big Jim Uso, and Roman Reigns. Believe it or not, he's designed gear for all of those people, Madusa. So we probably will see quite a bit of JD Hoop at WrestleMania. What we're also going to see at WrestleMania, ma'am, if I may,
What?
if I may,
What?
if I may, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. 5 times.
You know who. There he is. There he is.
Oh, are we going to go right straight into that? Okay, don't forget though, Twitch. I'm on Twitch every Thursday at 8 p.m. I was going to be 9, but it's 8. But tomorrow it's going to be 10 o'clock, guys. I got some shit going on.
Love you for that.
It's going to be 10 o'clock tomorrow. So there's that. Okay,
so
I
thank
just had
you
to
for
make
ruining
that
the
clear.
transition, but we do need to remind everybody, Madusa is on Twitch, 8 o'clock. They play games. It's not just all of the – there's a lot of fun games. I did join a couple weeks ago when I had time. But 8 o'clock, not 10 o'clock. That's what you're saying 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
10 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because Madusa's probably got something going on.
Yes, I do. Okay, now let's make that segue into WrestleMania 41.
To the build to WrestleMania.
What?
To the build to WrestleMania. Man.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
If I may.
Yeah.
Look at your boy Phil Brooks here.
What about him?
If I may. He's crying because he finally gets a WrestleMania main event. Because Paul said in 2013, I'm going to walk down the aisle.
You have that interview?
I do not have it, and we can't use it. I'm going to it. WWE owns it. They'll strike us.
I know. Do you have a picture of it? No?
No.
Damn it.
Not right now. I'm going to. See, she does call me names. I'm going to walk you down the aisle. So now this is the signature. The first week. This isn't the favor. This is the contract signing. And this is Paul telling Roman or telling CM Punk, do not acknowledge him. Do not acknowledge. And now we've got that's not the favor. So what's the favor? Of course, CM Punk will be escorted WrestleMania to the ring by one Paul Heyman.
Yes. Yes.
So this is an opinion from me and means nothing else, but I want you to respond to it. I thought the 10-year build between CM Punk and Seth Rollins was fantastic.
10-year build?
Yeah, a lot of history. Obviously, Punk can claim he brought the Shield in. He's responsible for Seth Rollins. He let him sleep on his couch when he couldn't afford rent, whatever.
Right.
Then you have CM Punk, you have Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. They come up together from FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling, now called NXT. They form the Shield at the behest of Paul Heyman and CM Punk. Seth turns on him, becomes the Authority's champion. Then Roman becomes the big dog and later the tribal chief. And they've got this 10-year story. Where is the story with CM Punk and Roman Reigns that justifies us having a 3-way match on night 1 main event of WrestleMania?
I need to justify that?
It's not a trick question. My point was
I'm trying to dig deeper than I am. So
you probably need to. They're fighting over Paul Heyman. That's not really the 10 years you've got between Roman and Seth with that brilliant shot WWE got in the Royal Rumble with Roman peering at Seth about ready to hit the Superman punch.
Okay, so all 3 of these brothers have history together, right? Yeah.
But to me, Roman and Punk is lacking. That's what I'm trying to get at.
It is, but they all have a little bit of something. Okay, but in comes Paul. Paul has history with all of these men, except for what's lacking is Seth. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the lack is Roman and Punk and Heyman and Seth. So everyone thinks that Paul may turn on Punk and go with Seth because this is what Seth needs. I feel that Seth has his own vibe when he comes walking out by himself, by his gear, by the way he dresses each time, and that's been his thing. And I mean, he's gotten a lot better on the mic, and so has Roman, and so has Punk. And Paul is Mr. Mike. So what do you do with this? Is it, I mean, at the end of the day, is it Roman's time to get some time off and heal and do some whatever he needs to do mentally, physically, health-wise? And then maybe it goes back and forth with Seth and Punk, and then maybe there's a big surprise somewhere that someone actually comes into WrestleMania that no one even expects. I mean, is Moxley's contract still good over in AEW? Wouldn't that be something? I don't know. I'm just throwing shit to see what sticks and what would be pretty cool. I mean, do y'all really want to see Paul Heyman with Seth? What is that going to do? So, I don't know.
In a loud, clear voice, John Moxley's not going back to WWE. I heard some colleagues of mine speculating that would be the case because he'll go get the bag. John Moxley is frugal to the point of being cheap, has more money than he knows what to do with, words that come out of his mouth, not mine, and said that the reason he left WWE had nothing to do with money. It was all about what they would allow him to do as a professional wrestler and artist. So if that's the case, we don't see Moxley.
A rich person doesn't talk about their money, so you wouldn't talk about how frugal you are either. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah, he is very frugal. But this is what I will, and his wife works at AEW, so it's not like unless they're coming as a package.
If they didn't need the money, she wouldn't be working and being a mommy and having another kid. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, things are different now, Deuce, and she's a few years younger than I am. So,
what does that mean? What are you trying to say? She's old? She's not old.
No, I'm saying that they could have more children if she decided to, and got her contract was up doing the announcing gig, and she's very popular.
Fernando Moxley is staying in AEW, plain and simple.
Yeah, I'll put it up there, Fernando. Fernando's a longtime fan of Madusa's and great.
Dude, I'm just saying it would be cool. Wouldn't y'all shit? Let's just say this. Wouldn't y'all shit if Moxley did show up? What would you do?
I would get mad because John Moxley is a one-trick pony, and it's called the death match or the hardcore match. And he bleeds making his little girls Cheerios in the morning, which you should probably send him that tweet and let him know that Cheerios
has lead in it.
Yeah, it has lead in it. Cheerios are bad for you guys. Deuce was all over the health shit this morning, or this afternoon. But on the topic of Heyman, why would he go with Rollins?
Mm-hmm.
Ideologically, Heyman's the wise man. Heyman is the revolutionary with ECW. And Seth Rollins, as you know, is the architect and the visionary. It would make sense in a meta world, in a very large wrestling universe. On the other hand, he doesn't need to be with Roman. He doesn't need to be with Punk, and he doesn't need to be with Rollins. But his being with Roman made Roman Reigns the heel we all wanted Roman Reigns to be.
Yeah, but he doesn't need to be with Seth or with Punk at this point.
Or Roman.
Yeah.
But he's going to walk down the aisle with Roman Reigns, or excuse me, CM Punk.
Yeah.
And then we have this little complication. So this is where the fuel for the conspiracy is really starting to catch. So Seth Rollins said he'd do Paul a favor, and all it would take is one stomp to the back of his neck, and he'd eliminate him from WrestleMania altogether, and you don't have to worry about Roman and Seth. And then Roman and CM Punk. CM Punk comes out. CM Punk gets beaten, best of him. And this is Seth telling Paul, now you owe me a favor.
Oh.
What does the Paul Heyman character do? Not the man, but the character.
He still comes out with Punk, hiding behind Punk, doing Punk the favor, and then somehow, some way, some reason, miraculously does something for Seth to win. And there goes their friendship, and that's on fire for a while.
Well, as a reminder, the Paul Heyman modus operandi as a slimeball
doesn't mean Paul goes with Seth right away. I'm just saying he does something to fuck something up.
As his modus operandi, the MO of the Paul Heyman character is Brock Lesnar. He turned on him for Big Show. Then, of course, Lesnar comes back. Lesnar is the guy that he picks over CM Punk. So he goes from CM Punk to Lesnar. Then he goes from Lesnar to Reigns. It is very logical that if it's time for a new chapter, that Punk and Roman are victimized here by Seth Rollins. Now, I don't know at his age and his stature in the company, Madusa, Seth Rollins is a tippy top made guy, regardless of what they insert him in. He's a Triple H guy. His wife is a Triple H woman, the man, Becky Lynch. She's not going anywhere. And he elevates the other wrestlers that he is with all the time. So Seth Rollins is that guy that could, with Paul Heyman's help, defeat Jey Uso, provided he beats Gunther, and then goes on the run. But he doesn't need the title. He's a made man.
I don't know. I don't want Jey Uso to beat Gunther. I want Gunther to come after Seth Rollins.
Well, that could happen because Gunther, because we're tangential tonight, forget your notes. We're burning them. Gunther, I'm kidding. Gunther signed a new contract today with WWE, or he announced that he did. And guess what he asked for in his contract, Madusa?
How do you even know what he asked for?
Because he said it.
And so you're going to believe that?
He said he asked for a bus. Because if you don't ask for it, you don't get it. So they gave him a bus included with his contract. So Gunther has his own travel coach now.
Oh my God.
Huh. So for all the AEW fans that watch our show, which there's 4 of them,
and this goes back to what we thought everything was paid for. Maybe the bus is paid for in his contract.
Yeah, he wanted a bus. And that came out in an interview. I'm not making that up. He wanted
I've been to some of those places, and the more buses they start giving to talent, there's nowhere to park them anymore.
Uh-oh. Look what Fernando brought up. In storyline, didn't Heyman turn on you when you were with the Dangerous Alliance back in the day?
He did.
Functionally, he did, but the reason the Dangerous Alliance stopped was some fucker named Bill Watts. But anyway.
Yes. He called me a name and Paul Heyman a name.
Yeah. And neither are very nice. Even we don't use those types of words on the air here. So the Paul Heyman experiment. Paul, Madusa, would you say, and I'm not asking you to give us state secrets because you and Paul are close. Would you say that you think Paul is driving the creative of this program? This is
absolutely.
a lot of his vision.
A lot of his ideas, his baby, and maybe it's about time he does get his ass kicked, just like he did with me. I think that he will do it so well and milk this situation to get his ass kicked. Maybe it is an ass kicking. Wouldn't that be a spin? not just by Roman or Punk, but by Seth as well. What if all three of them beat the fuck out of him in the middle of the ring during WrestleMania?
That's really good. Here's the intrigue as well. The last time somebody put
and
their
then they're
hands
all
on-
like, traitor, traitor, traitor. You can't be trusted. You can't be trusted. You can't be trusted.
because
and the lights.
he's
saves
built a story on loyalty. And he also was reminded by Rollins on Monday that Roman didn't save you from the bloodline, from Solo Sikoa. They put you through that table at Madison Square Garden, and he named the two kids. I forget the names of Paul's children.
Yeah, Sika, or not Sika, but yeah.
But he actually named the two children Paul Heyman's kids. And then he said, and CM Punk didn't save you either, because you asked him to take him with you, and he didn't take you with him, rather, to save you from Jacob Solo in the bloodline. So, that's fresh. And that's where that intrigue comes from. At the end of the day, I think that it's going to go one of two ways. Either we're going to get a really good Heyman swerve somehow, or it's going to be a kiss ending with CM Punk's hand raised and then Paul going back to Roman. So
that's boring. I couldn't. I mean, I think it would be like a total shock. Something happening to Paul by each one of those men. And Paul is just laying there, like in the center. Now what? I have none of it. I lost my best friend. I lost my loyalty and my trust to the wise men from Roman. And I blew my chance with Seth. How can I make it up to you? And then maybe there's a new breed that he's going to do that no one would suspect.
Well, you used the word boring, and that's how a lot of people are describing this WrestleMania.
Yeah. Okay,
because
let's go on to the next one then.
We've got
John
this
Cena and Cody Rhodes.
We've got this three-way, and then we've got the man, John Cena, the GOAT, according to Michael Cole, and he really needs to quit calling him that, and Cody Rhodes. And there's Chody right there. They're having their little face-off. Now, I really did enjoy...
He looks like Beetlejuice.
I really did enjoy some of this. Now, Cody's standing over Cena, obviously. There's him telling him it's WrestleMania. So I really did enjoy this because Cena says at some point, or Cody says at some point, you got more dick on the mic than you do in those jorts.
Yes.
And then,
was good.
Cena says, well, I build companies for billionaires. You just steal money from their kids. And I'm like, damn, they're going at it.
That's good. That's good, Mike. Yeah.
And then you get one Crossroads, and Cena is out. Crossroads being Cody's finisher. He's out. They have the little physical altercation. We did not see Cena on SmackDown or Raw. We won't see Cena probably till
WrestleMania.
Till the Hall of Fame. He'll be at the Hall of Fame. But, but we won't see him prior to that. And that leaves the question, do you see The Rock? But here's my question to you, Madusa, before you answer about The Rock. Have they built Cena Cody to your satisfaction, knowing this is for the World Championship and Night 2's main event, presumably, for WrestleMania?
I was going to say allegedly, but yeah, I mean, their promo skills have really made you want to watch and made you want to see this match. I think they were doing it right. Now, it's been a build-up for some time, which is a little slow, is iffy to some of us, and it just got good, I think. So I love this Cody part. I love this inner person that he's bringing out. He's digging deep on his promos, and I like it. It's less child and more man, and I dig it. And this part of Cena, I wish he would have done this a long time ago.
So you may not know, and I'm not trying to be funny. John Cena was a heel in 2002, 2003 when he was the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Yeah, but it didn't come.
No, I was saying he'd come out and he'd rap and he'd shoot on guys and he would just chew people up and spit them out. The crowd turned him. They started getting behind him. And Vince says, well, I'm not an idiot. I see these are what the people want to see. I'm going to get my company behind him. Before you know it, at 04's WrestleMania, he beats Big Show for the U.S. title. And at 05, he's winning the championship from your pal, John Bradshaw Layfield. So, I mean, they saw what they saw with Cena. And to me, as I've told you, he's a generational talent. You name generations in WWE. Yeah. You've got Bruno, you've got Hulk, you've got I guess the 90s would be Austin, Rock, maybe. You've got Roman, you got Cena. Those are your generational talents in WWE since the 1970s or whatever.
I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I can't wait to see what really happens. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people think, I mean, it'd be great to see, you know, what if Cena wins? You know, this fucking like, wow. What are you going to do with that? He can just turn around and drop it on Monday, so he'll be all right.
Ma'am, you say what if Cena wins. I say what happens when Cena wins. Will win the world title from Cody Rhodes. I really
hope so. I hope so.
I think Cena will win. Heel. And then Ric Flair's head will explode because his, you know, WWE 17-time world champion is John Cena, not Ric Flair. But
exactly. I will say, I think they're going to do it. I think because they want to wash their hands of any more of the whole Flair stuff, just because of all the, you know, bullshit.
Well, here's the other thing, though, Deuce, and I'm being genuine.
They're crossing over generations. So
Ric Flair's 2 times did not happen to the WWE. The other 14 that they talk about, they didn't have anything to do with the WWE. They happened elsewhere. John Cena's 16-time world championships have happened in only one place, the WWE. So he really is that guy. I want to see Cena do the deal. I want to see him finish. I want to see where this Rock intrigue goes. I think that some of this is, quote, boring because they've got it set where there's going to be a lot of surprise, particularly in this match.
I hope it doesn't get ruined that way. I hate that when there's just every match, there's something happen, all of a sudden, it's so-and-so, and it's the fucking match is ruined.
So last year's WrestleMania, they called it the Infinity match or Infinity Wars match or Avengers match, because basically you had Roman and his crowd, and you had Cody and his, which was The Undertaker instead of Stone Cold. Stone Cold has said that he plans to be at WrestleMania. That makes sense because his match with Bret Hart is going into the Hall of Fame. They're putting a wrestling match, WrestleMania 13, with the double turn into the Hall of Fame. Plus, he's right there at the ranch. So if Austin helps Cody, it would make a little sense, I guess. But on the other hand, I have no problem with John Cena leaving Las Vegas with the world title. None whatsoever.
I don't think we need Steve Austin stealing the show and helping Cody when he can. I just hope that don't happen. I don't. I don't. I'll be pissed. You know, let Cody fucking do something on his own. You know, fuck, he's worked hard for it. He's done everything they've fucking asked. I mean, let's just do this. Let's have something good. I'm done having, cotton candy fucking surprises in there. Just sweet spots,
So you think Cody's a great ambassador for WWE and deserves the opportunity to be the face of the company?
I'm not saying, I don't know if his time is yet there, but I do say that he has the ability, absolutely. He needs more time to be able to carry that, to be a John Cena, a face of the company. But I think he has the ability to do that, absolutely.
So Roman and Paul have been making the interview segments, particularly for the Bloodline video game, the WWE 2020, the 2K25. And do you think Cody would be good in that spot? Just if they used Cody to do exactly what Roman and Paul are doing. Publicity, interviews, etc.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if they carry off with him to do something else on the next level for next year, I could see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Cody's a great ambassador for the company. He annoys me. Like his promos where he has to tell you how to build a watch instead of what time it is really just annoy me. The attempt to be Dusty really just annoys me.
He needs to step out of that like Ashley, like Charlotte had to.
You can't step out of the man's shadow if you live in it, and that's the problem. I don't think Cody has ever decided not to live in it.
Well, maybe that's the one thing that he knows that he needs to work on, and maybe that's something he can work on for till next year.
But because we're fair and balanced around here, better than Fox News, I will also say Cody Rhodes matches don't bore me. Like genuinely, they don't. I'm not bored by them.
No.
And he doesn't have bad matches. There may be things that he does the same way or whatever, formulaic. Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is he doesn't just shit the bed out there, So, right. So he's I think he's a good brand ambassador. He would be an amazing heel. The problem is, like, he is sort of taking that Cena spot where he's the guy for the kids now. So yes. I don't know that you want to upset that boat either, because even though it's
not yet, I would say it'd be great to see him turn heel, like after WrestleMania next year, give him a reason to turn heel next year.
And that's my point, is that you've got to have
maybe that's what he says. Screw my dad. Screw this. Yeah. I'm stepping out of this apparitional fucking life. I'm not in his, I'm not an apparition of my dad. I'm me. And it's about time I grow some balls or something,
I would agree with all of that. Because again, the one thing we know is that these two main events, and there aren't women in the main event. And that's kind of sad, to be honest, because WWE.
No, I mean, give me one match that's worthy to be main event.
But I'm saying neither of them are. But WWE has been hitting the leather off the ball over the past few years with the women's division. They didn't this year.
There's not a storyline or a match that can hold main event.
Not good at all. But we are going to talk about it because we love Rhea and we love Bianca.
And now how did this turn into a three-way?
So this is the match between Rhea and Io with Bianca as your referee. And Bianca, doing her shenanigans, ends up being a double DQ. Io retains the title. And then, what's his face? Adam Pearce gives in and gives Rhea a three-way match for WrestleMania. So WrestleMania, Io defends against Bianca, who won the Royal Rumble, and Rhea Ripley, who lost the title on Netflix on Raw. I think, like you say, Deuce, I feel it is my opinion that this has been an absolute shit show. What do you think about this build to WrestleMania?
The best thing on this three-way is what took place, I believe, on Monday night when Rhea, just palmed her again, just face palmed Io, and she had enough. Now the real Japanese wrestler came out in Io, got up, when I saw what she did to Rhea, all I could think of was Saraya Paige, when I think it was Mercedes that gave her a drop kick from behind like that, and that's how Saraya got her neck injury. I think it was Sasha Banks or Mercedes, whatever, that gave her that drop kick out of the corner in the back, and she whipped her head and she had that injury. And then when I saw Io do that to Rhea, and she fucking hit her so hard, Bianca, I mean, like her head and her face, and I was like, whoa. To me, that was business. That's the Io I like. And Io could take both of them basically in wrestling style any which way. And I'm sick of her getting just face planted and disrespected and just pushed down. And I'm glad they had her step up and do what she did. The best thing that could happen is her taking both out and her, being the champion she is, winning everything.
See, I've heard some people say they don't believe Io has enough star power to be the world champion, but she was
because it's uncomfortable to everybody, and because she doesn't speak the full promo situation that they want to. But Io has the talent to fulfill that place. Now it's up to the team to deliver the rest, because she cannot do this alone, since it's a production and it is a television show. The writers and everyone involved needs to get involved for this to be a success. Otherwise, we're going to see the same old bullshit of Americans always rising above. The fucking foreigners get pushed aside, and this needs to overcome. Just kind of like what they did with Bull Nakano and Alundra when she won the title in Tokyo. For fuck's sake.
With the guillotine leg drop off the top rope.
Yeah.
With her finish.
Yeah.
And
no popping up.
I'm not trying to be a smartass. There was no gaga. There was no run-ins. It was Bull Nakano beats the Alundra Blaze with the guillotine leg drop off the top rope.
Whew. Let me tell you. That was heard across the fucking waters.
That was the finish.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. And I had the same conversation with somebody. I said, look,
really?
I said, Io could whoop everybody's ass in that ring. Yes. It's not even close. She might be the smallest.
Oh,
but they, like you've said, they pie face her and that sort of thing. I think, again, we talk about it. Opinion. I feel this match is designed to turn Bianca heel without pinning Rhea Ripley. Because then she can go to Jade and they build the Rhea for SummerSlam. Potentially. But I really think...
But who's really pulling it off is Naomi.
Oh, well, that's correct. Yeah, Naomi is going.
You want to see a fucking heel fucking shine. I mean, I am all for this right now. This is something that I feel that I don't know how long she's been wrestling, but finally, after whatever years, 15 years or more she's been wrestling, this woman has finally got her time to fucking shine, and she's shining.
Yeah, because even I've said, well, she's only employed because she's Jimmy Uso's wife. And
well, everyone felt like, because that's what it looked like. That's what it felt like. That's what they did her as. Basically, now she's proven to everybody, hey, I can, I got this. I can do it, and I'm going to do it well. And
what do you think about her and Jade at WrestleMania, though? Are they ready for that big a spotlight in Las Vegas?
Those two against each other?
Yes, because that's the match.
I know, but I mean, it's like the fire about them and how they both evolved into these new people. I want it to work and pull off so much. Basically, you've got, it looks like heel versus heel, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, never really been done. Let's see who shines and who listens and who's going to do it well. Even the person that's taken the finish is going to shine brighter than anything, because they're working together and they're going to make a story happen. That's what it is. That's all it is. It's not about who wins or loses. It's about making the story a success so you can continue.
Again, I agree with you. I think Jade is considered more the babyface in this because, of course, she was the one attacked and whatnot put out. I do think Jade is a natural heel. The way she carries herself, the body language, the expressions, the way she talks.
Even her, the way she speaks is not, it's very... it's not smooth, let's say. So until she gets to that point, she's a good heel.
Well, and for me, I'm okay with her being a heel, because she's big, she's imposing, she's athletic. Um, I think she could benefit from somebody like Paul Heyman, but on the other hand, they've got to let her be Jade, and she has to embrace
Yes.
that role.
She's
So,
got
and I
to
think
let herself evolve and get out of the old whatever that was and be this. Now, what just came to me too is later on, after we get past this tit for tat, Charlotte and Tiffy, whatever. I think the best thing they can do with Tiffany so people can take her seriously instead of just cutesy. I feel, and I do have to say this, listening to Tiff on the mic here recently, I have to give her props. I mean, she was killing it, really. And I feel that the best, I would love to see something happen and Naomi put her in her place. And I would love for Naomi to go to town on her and just fucking make alphabet soup out of her.
so. You mentioned him. Let's talk about him. This was SmackDown Saturday or Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte, Tiffy, Wade playing the role of Jerry Springer. A lot happened in this segment, Madusa, and the chat can certainly chime in for how they felt about it. You're 16,000 strong in Chicago, so you are in a wrestling city.
Yeah.
With a very raucous crowd. The crowd is much like Philadelphia. They like what they like. They boo what they don't like.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair comes out to begin this standoff promo. These two, because we talked about last week where or the last time we were together, where they did that video promo and it was horrible. Like they did not have the juice together and actually cleaned it up on social after the fact, which was better than what we all saw on TV. But anyway, so I think we all agreed to that. But this promo, Charlotte never really gets started because the crowd hijacked the interview. They took over. They booed her. She tried to open her mouth. They booed her. They booed her some more. She was visibly flustered, and that is the wrong spot, in my opinion, as a wrestling fan, for the person who's supposed to be the veteran in this deal leading the way. Now, obviously, I've never been inside a wrestling ring and booed by 16,000 people, so I can imagine it can be a little difficult. On the other hand, that's the reaction she's supposed to be getting. Yes. And then we shoot, or at least that's what's speculated. The divorce line, the Kaiser's in my DMs line, all of that has been sanitized from any replays on WWE. So either they're making it far more of an issue just simply by doing that, or it really was an issue. Either way, my opinion, this sucked and was not good for a WrestleMania promo. How do you think they did, and how do you fix it or make it better if you liked it?
Well, I've always said, depending on what the whole angle is, subject matter, pulling personal punches, that is already known to the world, not personal, non-public information, but already public personal information that's out there. And for you to use it, segue or into something into the promo, I think is fantastic. So let's just hear me out. Charlotte Ashley has gone on a few shows before this, I think. Talked about her divorce and how she felt and how many times and how she was scared and what people would think. I thought to myself right away, well, this is interesting. They're having her go on all these different shows talking about all of this and how she did it strategically and wanted to keep it from the public. And because she, that's the plan. That was the plan. But what a great setup it is to have that to be used in a promo interview. It was actually handed in on a fucking silver platter to Tiff. I would have used it. It was already out there. And I thought Tiff, and that's what I was saying, delivered it very well. Now, Ashley's father comes out and says it was very disrespectful to talk to her that way. Says a man that, yeah, God is history, right? Says that promo was disrespectful. No, she did talk about personal marriage, divorces, but it's already publicly, she already spoke about it. You're 0 and 3. You're going to be 0 when you're gone because you're 0 now because of your whatever. Okay. I thought it was good. All right. But for these two to go into a promo, I think something was on script. And I think maybe, I don't know why it felt so awkward from Ash. Maybe there was a nerve that hit that she didn't realize what Tiff was going to say. Maybe she added a few things. But Tiff, if you go back there, she was smooth and did not really skip a beat. So either she had this well thought out and this was part of the script, and why Charlotte felt so off and hesitant and couldn't come up. Maybe it was the crowd, but that's what they're supposed to be doing. And maybe she wasn't ready for I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you. Can't answer for her. But I didn't see anything wrong out of Tiffy's, but out of Charlotte's throwing at the end, Kaiser's in my DMs. If all of this was just made up, let's hypothetically, and Tiffy's wasn't a script, well, that was fucking great then. And Charlotte came up with that, just get Kaiser out of my DMs. That's very scared, old school, last minute, what am I going to say? And I'm going to fucking hurt you type of thing. Well, if that's what it was, again, kind of like full circle, like you said, for them to debunk everything, I mean, it just gets people talking even more when you do stuff like that. So who knows anymore? You don't know. But we know that it was awkward. So something was up, period.
Yeah, I think the awkwardness too only feeds the get this the fuck over attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Like from the wrestling community, we're all like, nobody wants to see this.
I hope the match doesn't go anything like the promo, because it could get into a cat fight. It could be, but I think that if this was off script and things were said, whatever, they both got a talking to. And, you know, hey, this is business. You better go out there and have a fucking match. If you guys can't get your shit together, we can pull you as fast as we can add somebody else type of thing. And it's been done last minute on WrestleMania. So let's just hope that they're both business and it's a really good match.
Yeah, our buddies over here, Stipo says to the Ric Flair, said the man who came to WWF to try to steal Miss Elizabeth while she and Savage were going through a divorce. That is accurate. And then Charlotte should have been the pro that she was. I don't understand why she allowed the crowd to get to her. I like Fernando's comment here, Madusa, because I felt the same way. Charlotte Flair is not a rookie. She's not 25 years old. She's not Tiffany Stratton. She is Nature Boy Ric Flair's daughter. She knows what heat is. She knows what a crowd reaction is. Unfortunately, like you said, that whole thing got derailed in a hurry.
Okay, can I just, on her defense, I'm going to interrupt you and I'm so sorry, but on her defense, I get it. So here you are. You're a couple years into your contract, probably one of the, first, second, or third top women that got $1 million contracts over X amount of years. And she's been hurt. She went through divorce. She's just coming back. She's getting her feet, settled and finding her way. And then they throw up against Tiffany, which is this newcomer that's fucking fast tracking like a mofo. And Tiff lets her know, this is your prime example in the business, and Charlotte knows this. Tiffy is nipping at her heels. Tiffy is going to be taking her spot in the future, basically. And Charlotte's right there seeing it all take place. And so it's one of those moments. Maybe, it's reality setting in. And, she's going to, how old is Charlotte? 40? Almost?
She is my age. She'll be 39 this year.
39, 40,
Well,
basically.
she just turned 39, yeah. She just turned 39.
So, yeah. So, I mean, it's around the corner too, So, I mean, she probably still got a good couple years, but she's not going to be in her prime much longer. You know what I mean?
Nope.
And that's what's happening.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I had speculated this with you a few months ago. Tiffany's the replacement. And to your point, Charlotte is having to watch herself be replaced by a younger, not saying prettier, but a younger, very beautiful, very athletic version
of her. Yeah.
Of her.
And it sucks. It's like being at a job and someone saying, "Hey, Deuce, can you take Veronica and bring her into the office and just train her in after, while you're getting your stuff done? Are you paying me for that too, bitch?" No, it's like, but it's your job, you signed up for this. So,
well, you know what else we signed up for? We signed up for Gunther talk from Madusa.
Oh, yeah. Here. Yeah.
So this great image here, Jey Uso.
Yeah.
Trying to grab his brother Jimmy, who just got busted open by Gunther. I'm going to say something and I want you to respond.
Okay.
This is the Gunther I want to see as the world champion.
Yes. I'm a Gunther fan. I am. I've been behind him for months and months. And I'm like, remember that conversation? I'm like, that's the guy. That's the guy. They're going to build. He's got going to be taking the place of a fucking Lesnar. Like, he is like, keep your eyes on him. And sure enough, look where he's at. Something about him, guys. He can fucking carry this shit. I would love to see him and Cody down the future. Maybe that's next WrestleMania.
And that would be why I would say, other than yeet.
Yeah.
You're going to see
over all of that.
You're going to see Jey Uso win the world title.
Who?
It's going to be opening night, match 1. It's the world championship. It's Jey Uso versus Gunther. Gunther loses this title. That's what I think. And this is why I think that. Here we go. There's Gunther. There's Jey. We got the yeet glasses on. He's in all black. And Jey says, this is his serious promo everybody's been waiting for. He says, I'm going to say a prayer for me, and then I'm going to say a prayer for you for what I'm going to do to you at WrestleMania.
Okay.
And he brought the family in it. He brought Rikishi in it. He made it personal and emotional. Finally, you have that more than, well, Jey Uso simply is not worthy of wrestling Gunther line. But I think and feel that WWE is the type of business that will run with Jey Uso because he's hot. But it will not be. I mean, he is genuinely, Madusa. I see your reaction. I'll have you respond. He is genuinely, to me, the flash in the pan, the flavor of the week. This is what we're
Gunther?
Jey Uso, back up, lady.
Okay.
Jey Uso is the flavor of the week. So they're going to have Gunther beat him, or him beat Gunther, because it's not going to hurt Gunther.
Huh? But Gunther don't need a title.
Gunther probably doesn't need a title. No, man.
No, he don't. And if they're going to do that at WrestleMania, Gunther's going to take it back on fucking Raw. He doesn't need it, though. He can just push him out. In fact, he can just take the title, give it to him, and then kick him out. I don't need no title to kick your ass. Come back. Or something, Come back when you whatever. But, yeah. He just reminds me of a whole new breath of fresh air of a Brock, taking that whole thing.
Well, Brock Lesnar's radioactive, and Gunther is the gem of Triple H's eye right now.
Yeah.
Mortis here. Look at Mortis. Mortis
Where's
says
Mortis?
Gunther and Cody have wrestled each other before recently too. Cody won at Crown Jewel of 2024. Yeah, Homelander wins against Gunther in front of a bunch of Saudis that paid for the show. We love it, Morty. We love it. You don't watch The Boys, do you?
Who?
You.
What do you mean I don't watch The Boys?
The Boys? Do you watch The Boys?
Ever so often.
So you know who Homelander is?
No.
Homelander's the main character, the blonde with the red, white, and blue, looks just like Cody. That's
wait a minute. Maybe, yeah, vaguely, yes.
Yeah. Homelander is Cody.
Oh boy.
Oh, he's horrible. Alex Williams, hi to you, sir. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Hello, Alex.
We've got what is this name? Derp McGurk says Morty at Saudi Arabia. But Derp said something else earlier. I can't remember. Well, maybe I don't know. Oh, there you go. I don't know how things are now, but like Madusa said, WWF wasn't afraid of making last-minute changes.
They're not.
I think it's a very interesting insight, but I think they're far less likely to make last-minute changes today than they were when VKM ran the show.
Yeah, but look, they haven't been promoting those too much.
Who, Gunther and Jey?
No, I'm still thinking of Charlotte and fucking Tiff, except because of that last promo.
Somebody is going to have to admit that was a mistake. Like in the lore, oh shoot, I didn't mean to hit the button. In the lore of all things, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, we really fucked up on that one. Somebody's gonna have to own it. Blame Road Dogg. He runs SmackDown now. So,
blame Road Dogg.
Yeah, blame Road Dogg. He runs SmackDown. We love you, Brian James, but seriously, what the fuck was that? Said every wrestling fan. Speaking of what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Look at this. We got 12 matches, 4.5 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, that was
Put that back up.
We're really not going through all of these because this was
I know. Go back. Get that back up.
There you go. I've got your graphic, ma'am, that you love to have over top of us.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. It was a shit show.
Holy shit. Yeah, well, okay.
So that's a lot of matches, 4.5 hours. The high points of the show, I thought.
Yeah.
FTR teased that they were going to break up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then they hit the Shatter Machine on Edge, the Copeland, whatever he goes by these days. And they beat the shit out of him, hit him with a couple concertos. Do you like that type of turn, Madusa, when a wrestler is, quote, put out? Do you like it being that violent? You know, like where the guys had neck surgery, legit. And so they do the concerto, which is his move, and they do it several times after a spike pile driver. Do you like that sort of thing, or is it too much? Is it just, okay, this is just another beatdown? How do you feel about it?
Well, how much was there of a buildup beforehand? And why was it necessary to continue? I mean, it's not necessary if there isn't that much of a buildup prior storyline to get to that point to be continuous on that same move. Yeah, you milk the reason of why he, whatever, he had neck surgery, and so we're going to do this to him and take him out. I mean, let it be a big enough reason. Otherwise, it's redundant, and it doesn't need to be all of that all the time. I know they say AEW is the place to be able to do all of this, and it's, they're hardcore, and it's beginning to be a lot. And now I can't even remember all of them. You know what I mean? And what's the reasoning? It's kind of like when someone has a finish, you don't see it as a fucking high spot. And that's how I feel like a lot of this shit's happening. It's just alphabet soup.
I was muted. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Tony Khan said that people really like the blood and guts of AEW and the hardcore aspect, and they're going to do more of that.
Well, then put it on another program. Let's see how the ratings really are.
Like, who is he asking? I'll ask our audience. When Moxley took that spike to the back, did you all like that? When they did the swerve powerbomb from Claudio onto glass, and I have the photo, Madusa. It was not as Jungle Boy said, real glass. This just fake glass, but that's fake glass.
Sugar. It's called sugar glass. Yeah.
Yeah. So Swerve takes that on a television show. It's not the pay-per-view even. It's the TV show leading up to the pay-per-view. And then he does his best Undertaker imitation. There he is. So that's the Swerve, the made man. And Swerve last year lost the title to Bryan Danielson because we had to have our feel-good moment and have him in the lore and blah, 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 blah. Swerve was the hottest act in wrestling, and they killed the momentum. Yeah. Their fault. At least for that company, it was the hottest act. And then you know what else kills momentum? These two fucks. That's my opinion, not Madusa's, but they
come in and save the day.
They are the young bucks who came in with the black or the lights went out, whatever, and they come up and they've got Swerve's arms and they hit him with the double knee and they give Mox the victory on Sunday. I think, I feel complete waste of time and no good reason to put Swerve Strickland, who is one of your top tier talent, in that position.
Yeah.
So that the Young Bucks can come back, and then everything they touch turns to shit anyway. CC and Punk. So anyway.
Wow. I wonder how Punk feels about that.
I am not a fan of these two clowns. Does everybody in the chat like the Young Bucks? Y'all really believe they're the greatest tag team in the world? I do not. And I'm in a mood.
I thought they had a stake in the company, and they have a lot of a lot to say and what happens there. Maybe, I don't know.
So I asked the question. We got answers. No, I didn't like the Moxley bat spot. I like Swerve, but AEW really should do these high spots on pay-per-view. That's from Derp McGurk. If I said your name wrong, sorry.
That's what I said. Minimize it. Don't keep doing all this shit. Leave it to something else.
And then you got Morty. Meh. He says meh.
Meh.
And then the longest reigning fan.
Harshman. What's up, Harshman?
So welcome, buddy. We appreciate you. Oh God damn it, Digi's in the chat too. He's back. He was quiet for a little while. I don't know what he's doing over there in Pennsylvania.
Oh, he's playing fucking video games.
Oh, okay. So he's only half-ass listening to us. I got it.
Yeah.
So now,
well, Mortis is playing Bejeweled. Fucking Morty's playing a game, not Digi. So damn it,
says
Morty?
Not a fan of the Bucks either. Oh, good.
Oh,
good. I've got people on my side here. But no, I just thought it was silly. Speaking of silly, Thunder Rosa is on AEW Dynamite right now in the women's Owen Hart Classic to take on Toni Storm, if the winner does, in July at All In Texas. And Thunder, who is she wrestling? I forget. But she's got a sign right now that says, "Women's wrestling is alive and well." Well, you sure as shit wouldn't know it in AEW if you're a Thunder Rosa fan, because she ain't been around. But
no, she hasn't. She's making a little comeback. Maybe she took some time off and whatever. So can we wrap it up with the big Tony Khan media call there?
Yeah, she's wrestling Chris Statlander. So the big media call, the big takeaway was what we've kind of talked about already. And we'll wrap it up before we jump to JFK, is he's going to make AEW more violent, more hardcore, more oppositional to traditional professional wrestling.
Maybe he should leave that over to ROH like it's an ECW thing or something, you know?
Well, here's the thing. ROH sucks and nobody watches it anyway. Collision is, an afterthought in a terrible time slot. Like if you're a wrestling company or own one, you don't want to be in on Saturday at 8:00. I mean, that's a horrible time slot. And you certainly don't want to be on a Turner station during basketball season.
No.
Anyway.
No, I agree.
Thunder Rosa is turning heel and getting her mojo back.
Oh.
Oh, Darren Walker, another friend of ours from across the pond. Toni Storm versus Megan Bayne, my highlight. Toni Storm, best woman in the business.
Right now, Tony's got a lot of good things going on. Absolutely.
I agree with Darren, though, on that, Deuce, in that she is a great representation of the women. Now, she also is funny as shit to me. It might just be the accent and the way she says things, but and the things she says, they make me laugh. But she's also gotten better in the ring, and she represents herself well. She embraces her character.
This character is very good. Yeah.
Yeah. She knows who she is.
Again, I highly recommend everyone to go see the old show. Absolutely fabulous, because this is what she reminds me of. She's like one of the characters on there.
Yep. Fernando, sorry. He says, I watch ROH. LOL. Well, nobody watches ROH except you, Fernando. At least anyone that I know. So the wrestling portion of tonight's show is over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I asked a question on social media, and you and I have talked about it in our own text messaging. What? Is John F. Kennedy.
Yes.
Obviously, the Kennedy files got released. But the question I asked on social, and I want our audience to participate if they be so kind, is JFK the very first Manchurian Candidate?
Oh.
And what I mean by that, we're going to walk through this, is if you were to build a presidential candidate, by the time Madusa and I get done tonight discussing John F. Kennedy, you're all going to say it was him.
I mean, when I read through this, I was like, oh my God, this is like somebody higher up had a map of who, what, where, when, what, and they put it all together, and they made this puzzle piece, and he was part of it. He was the plan. Like, he was the plan of this. It's crazy. And I mean, I got some questions. Like, I mean, the in-depth part about the military service stuff and all the colleges. I mean, my God, Harvard, Princeton, what's the other one? Choate. What is it?
The prep school too, yeah.
Yes.
Choate, the preparatory boarding school.
Is it Choate? And I was like, my God. And I thought it was interesting too. We'll get into it, when he went to the UK because of his father, right? And he learned the trade. I mean, it's like it was just setting him up for everything that he had. It was fucking brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's go through.
And that's why, that's why I asked the question, Deuce. Is he the first Manchurian Candidate? Because as we're going to talk about these JFK origins, and we're going to get into the assassination and the conspiracy but this is going to be
I think this is important so people can understand who he was and how it all even happens and why, because there's a lot of links. A lot of his participation in all this stuff is the reasoning. I think it just kind of webs off to the reasoning of why he got assassinated.
Morty, here's the problem with that Manchurian Candidate is they killed Meryl. They killed Meryl Streep in that movie, and that is unacceptable.
Oh, God.
We do not kill Meryl. It's a rule, Deuce. We don't kill Meryl.
Streep. You don't kill Meryl.
I love Meryl.
She's a great actress, by the way.
I love Meryl Streep. But anyway, JFK's origins. He was born Boston, Brookline, Massachusetts, outside of Boston. May 29th, 1917. So, what was happening May 29th, 1917, of course, as many of you know, would be World War I. It was winding down and would end. I was going to
say, that's at the end, though, really.
November 11th, yeah. So, it would be in that year, November the 11th. His parents are Joseph P. Kennedy Sr., a businessman and politician, and Rose Kennedy, philanthropist and socialite. Many of you may be old enough to remember when Rose Kennedy died.
I mean, bro, God, just reading all these names, I'm like, oh my God.
It's all coming back to Deuce because she's older than all of us.
Oh, shut up. I'm like a dinosaur.
But that and his paternal father and the grandfather, and this matters, and then Deuce and I are going to get after we get the skeleton built. PJ Kennedy is an East Boston ward boss, Massachusetts state legislature, so he knew about payoffs and bribes.
Yes.
Kennedy's maternal grandfather, John F. Fitzgerald, was a United States congressman and two-term mayor of Boston. And Kennedy's maternal all four of his grandparents, children of Irish immigrants. Kennedy had an older brother.
Remember that. Irish immigrants, because that kind of goes full circle into something how he used that. It's so good.
And 7 younger siblings: Rosemary, Kathleen, Eunice, Patricia, Robert, Jean, and Ted.
A lot of kids.
Kennedy's father amassed a private fortune and established trust funds for his 9 children.
I'm going to stop right there. Trust funds. Always put your big money into trust funds for each kids. Do not leave them fucking anything. Do not put their name in your house. Do not put your name in there. Fucking trust funds. There you go. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So Morty is correct. JFK was the first Catholic president. But we're not there yet, sir. Hold your water. We're not even getting to his presidency tonight, or his senatorship or representativeship. But on the Kennedy deal here, before we move too much further, the deal with his father, Joseph Sr., is that he was a bootlegger. I mean, they ran booze in the 1920s during Prohibition. Prohibition was put into place in 1920, and was repealed a decade later. And it's the only constitutional.
You're talking about Prohibition, though.
Yeah. But Joseph Kennedy was a bootlegger. He one of his businesses was moving illegal alcohol. So he had some ties to some nefarious folks, and that also is part of the conspiracy down the way.
Now, I heard, though, too, that he was, I'm not going to say friends, but worked with the Rockefellers. I'm going to search that. But anyway, go ahead.
Probably. Yes. So, Morty, don't apologize for jumping ahead, but we're not getting to his Catholic presidency yet. Anywho, so
his father, his
business kept him away from home, but he's a formidable presence in his children's lives. He encouraged them to be ambitious, emphasize political discussions at the dinner table. Madusa, we've heard the adage, you don't talk politics in public, you certainly don't talk religion, and you shouldn't do it at Christmas dinner either. This man is encouraging his children to be engaged.
Well,
it was the same way, who I've talked about on this show. Same way.
It's about how it's that and their education. And I'm sure they're very adamant about their education, as I think you say here. Demanded a high level of academic achievement. I mean, if you can only imagine the schooling that these children had. And they all spoke with eloquence. As much as I say previously in our conversations, I love his accent. I love the way he spoke. And it was very warming and approachable. And again, we are who we are by our environment. And we become our environment. So when you breed excellence and you surround yourself with excellence, and whatever that level of excellence is. So his father believed in good education, good communication, and this is what you get.
Yep. And so his business ventures, meaning Joe Sr.'s, would concentrate on Wall Street and Hollywood. So he also, if you guys are following along, and I know you are, he's making connections between people in Hollywood and they're influential, and the investors and people in Hollywood and in Wall Street. So what I'm saying is that Joseph Kennedy is setting up a network that's inclusive and expansive, and certainly allows he's setting up his family for success down the road by being connected to all of these people. Now, there's a polio outbreak. Believe it or not, folks, polio was a thing in the 1920s. and they moved from Boston, Riverdale to New York City. And several years later, Robert Kennedy, Sr., would tell Look magazine that his father left Boston's because job signs read, "No Irish need apply."
Yeah, there's that Irish.
Yeah. So the idea of the Irish being blacklisted was still a thing in the 1920s. I mean, and it's a silly thing, but it was a thing. Also,
but
being
he used that as an excuse, though.
Yeah, well, being Catholic was also a problem. So that was one of the things that we're going to get to. In September of 31, Kennedy started going to Choate, a preparatory boarding school in Wallingford, Connecticut. Rose wanted John and Joe to attend Catholic school, but Joe Sr. thought if they were to compete in the political world, they needed to be boys with they needed to be with boys from Protestant families. 14 years old, and his father is already planning their need to be inside of a political arena. That's what that just said, Madusa. He's born in 1917. This is 1931. You are planning the political future of your 14-year-old son. Definitely not the Manchurian Candidate.
Preparatory boarding school in the Wallingford, Connecticut. Unbelievable.
Yeah. But
yeah,
if they wanted to be successful, they needed to be surrounded by these other folks.
Yeah.
Kennedy spent his first years in his older brother's shadow, compensated with rebellious behavior that attracted a clique. So early on, even his rebellious behavior, he had charisma. That's what that also tells me.
Yeah.
Is that he had charisma because he becomes the leader of a group. And it says the most notorious stunt was exploding a toilet seat with a firecracker.
That was the original Rat Pack.
Yep. In the next chapel assembly, the headmaster, George, brandished the toilet seat, spoke of muckers who would spit in our sea, lead Kennedy's to name his group the Muckers Club, which included his roommate and lifelong friend, Liam Billings.
Is that your dogs?
That's the dogs. Hold on.
They want the bacon.
Yeah, well, I gave them bacon earlier so that they could have their
heart medicine.
Yeah. So Madusa, he is at boarding school. Give us your thoughts while the dogs bark, and I'm going to mute this.
So, like most well-to-do families, I mean, anywhere from Crawford, all of the Hollywood, and especially politicians, they would definitely set up and have children go to boarding school. Now, a lot of them thought it was because, the parents just didn't want to deal with the kids, but a boarding school was very strict living, and impeccable education. And it was to, not breed because they're already there, but born, but to exude excellence, right? And I feel that's boarding schools, depending on which ones were that way. And I think that's why they chose and had the kids do that, and put them in there. As we said at the beginning here, Kennedy, I mean, this was all basically planned and how they wanted, the family to, to learn and grow and become the human beings that they were in life. Let's see here. So let's see, where did we? So
I'm
completed.
Back, so I can
yeah.
help you.
Yeah, I was just talking about, the reasoning why a lot of these kids went into boarding school is a lot of people thought, well, the rich people wanted to get rid of their kids. And I said, no, it's because they wanted to have their children be surrounded by excellence and exude this lifestyle of, not just to be relevant, but to be smart and to grow. And, they were all planting the seed of their young and wanting them to become successful.
Yeah, he graduates half, in the half of his class, 64 out of 112. So he was in the lower half. But, he became the business manager of school yearbook, was voted most likely to succeed, which is
But see, that's
interesting.
the same thing with me though too in school. I failed in every class, almost every grade, but they kept passing me because they knew I could do the work. I didn't even have to study. I would just I would do it and pass. And I was just that I felt I was wasting my time in school. It's fucking, I just didn't do well, but I could do well. Yes.
Yeah, I was that way in high school, but in college, I
Well,
was the top.
stepped it up.
I buckled up. Yeah. Um, the deal with the graduation though, he goes to Harvard in 36.
Yeah.
Well, first he studied before he does that. Even he intended to study under Harold Lasky at the London School of Economics, as his older brother had done.
Yeah.
Ill health forced him to return. When he enrolled late at Princeton, had to leave due to gastrointestinal illness. So that was October 35 and 36. He's in Harvard College. This is not a dumb child. This is a very smart
Right.
individual.
I mean, look at all these different colleges. My God.
Ivy League colleges.
Ivy League, yes.
Yeah, obviously his father's influence helped.
Yes.
He wrote for the Harvard Crimson, which is the paper, and had little involvement with campus politics, preferring to concentrate on athletics and his social life. He played football, was on the JV squad, but an injury forced him off the team, and he left with back problems, plagued him for the rest of his life. He won membership in Hasty Pudding Club and the Spee Club and as Harvard's elite final clubs. So obviously he's going to be a Harvard grad. 1938, he sailed overseas to his older brother to work in the American Embassy in London, where his father was serving as FDR's ambassador to the court of St. James. And then the following year, he traveled through Europe, the Soviet Union, the Balkans, the Middle East in preparation for his Harvard senior thesis. Now, this is interesting. He went to Berlin, where a U.S. diplomatic representative gave him a secret message about a war breaking out onto his father.
That is fucking
Czechoslovakia, but before returning to London on September 1st, 1939, that day that Germany invaded Poland, the start of World War II. So the Germans used the Blitzkrieg September the 1st. The Hitler-Stalin pact was signed August the 23rd. My intuition as a educated historian would be that happened between those two dates.
How crazy is that?
Between the signing of the pact, August 23rd, 1939, and the invasion of Poland, September the 1st, that is when that conversation...
There was a tip-off. There had to be a tip.
Yeah. And...
I mean...
Uh-oh. What happened?
Nothing. I was just moving my feet up. Yes.
Oh, okay. I was saying. 2 days later, the family was in the House of Commons for speeches endorsing the UK's declaration of war on Germany. Kennedy was sent as his father's representative to help with arrangements for American survivors following the torpedoing of the SS Athenia before flying back to the United States on his first transatlantic flight. So remember, Amelia Earhart hadn't crossed the Atlantic back.
Amelia Earhart, that's great.
So this was early, but they're going across the ocean in transatlantic flights. Winter's here. She said she just got here.
What happened?
Kennedy, I don't know. She said, "What happened, bitch?" I don't know. I can be bitch. That's okay. While Kennedy was an upperclassman at Harvard, he began to take studies more seriously, developed an interest in political philosophy, made the dean's list. 1940, he completed his thesis, which I'm very interested in, or I think I've read, Appeasement in Munich, British Negotiations During the Munich Agreement. The thesis was released July 24 under the title Why England Slept. So, for those of you playing along at home, appeasement is what we call what they did with Hitler, where the Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1917, was very stringent, very strict, demoralizing, essentially castrated Germany in all manners of economy, military, political, etc. They under the guise of the Fuhrer, him reading into things, slowly and surely did things that these other countries, well, he's not doing this, so it's okay. He's not doing this. He built back the military. He put the draft back in place. He started to form the economy. He made it National Socialism. The Nazis officially took over in Germany in 1933.
You think there should be a draft in place?
What, in this country?
Yeah.
No.
Do you think everyone should go in the military at least 2 years, 4 years?
No.
Why?
Because not everybody's made for it, the same as not everybody's made for college. Did you see the former Secretary of Health and Human Services?
Yes. But okay, your point. I get it.
Point red. Check it on the list. Check it on the list. Those of you just Google Rachel and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But this Munich agreement, obviously, he's talking about his appeasement. So England and France grow weary of Hitler in 1936 after the Olympics. They start to see that he is moving Germany into a war nation again, the same way Kaiser Wilhelm II did it for the First World War. But Kennedy even sees that. So it is.
And this was year what?
1940. So he's writing a review of it.
Okay,
the book was one of the first to offer information about the war and its origins, quickly became a bestseller. In addition to addressing Britain's unwillingness to strengthen its military in the lead up to the war, the book called for Anglo-American alliance against the rising totalitarian powers.
Damn.
Totalitarian powers, of course, talking about Mussolini, talking about Franco in Spain, talking about Hitler in Germany, of course, the imperialists of Japan under the Emperor Yamamoto, and the rest. And
any leader.
In 1940, Kennedy graduates cum laude from Harvard with a Bachelor's of Arts in Government, concentrating on international affairs.
Imagine
that fall, he enrolled at the Stanford Graduate School of Business, audited classes, but left after a semester to help his father as an American ambassador. So again, step by step by step by step, John F. Kennedy is becoming.
He was molded.
He's becoming somebody. From international affairs to political ability, he is becoming somebody. And one way you become somebody is you join the military. So Kennedy planned to attend Yale Law School, but canceled when the American entered World War II, seemed imminent when the entry. 1940, he attempted to enter the Army's Officer Candidate School. Despite months of training, he was medically disqualified due to his chronic back problems. September 24th, 1941, Kennedy, with the help of the director of the Office of Naval Intelligence and the former naval attaché, Joe Sr. Alan Kirk, joined the United States Naval Reserve. He was commissioned as an ensign on October 26, 1941, and joined the O&I staff in Washington, D.C. 40 days later, Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941.
41? Pearl Harbor was 41? What was
December 7th,
I was thinking, okay, yeah.
Yeah, D-Day was 44.
Never mind.
June the 6th, 1944. But Pearl Harbor happened December 7th, 1941. Kennedy is officially in the United States Navy as an officer October the 26th. So within 40 days, breaks out. The United States is going to declare war on Japan. Is a great day of infamy in FDR's words, and they're going to declare war on Germany, despite no military action against the United States from Germany at the time, which was extremely.
Wasn't that a tip off from Germany though? From somewhere about Cuba? Wasn't what was that?
Not here.
That was later when he was okay, never mind. Yeah.
That was later. Office of Naval Intelligence. Thank you, Winter. So he is an officer in the Office of Naval Intelligence, which only furthers the idea that he might be the first Manchurian candidate in American history. So he joins O&I in Washington, D.C. In January of 42, he's assigned to O&I field office in the 6th Naval District of Charleston, South Carolina. His hope is to become a commander of a PT patrol torpedo boat. His health problems seemed almost certain to prevent active duty. Kennedy's father intervenes
Of course.
by providing misleading medical records, convincing PT officers that his presence would bring publicity to the fleet. So it is no longer about his health and ability to serve. It is about who he is.
Yeah.
So that again becomes extremely critical. 6 months of training at the Naval Reserve Office, training in Chicago. They still have that, by the way. And the Motor Torpedo Boat Squadron's training in Rhode Island. Now, the reason the torpedo boats were so important, of course, as you guys may know, is the Japanese naval fleet was dominating the South Pacific theater at this time.
Yeah.
And of course, the intention of Pearl Harbor was to take out the American Pacific Fleet. They attacked on a Sunday. They attacked early in the morning.
The Japanese were hard at it. Yeah. Everywhere. Yeah.
Well, the kamikaze was a mentality, the willingness to die for country. And it goes back to the Tokugawa shogunate and all of the Japanese samurais and that sort of thing, where their willingness was to commit suicide rather than be captured in battle.
Correct.
So, true warrior spirits. But anyway, so he commands a PT boat December the 7th until February 43. Unhappy to be assigned to the Panama Canal, far from the fighting. So that Panama Canal will be more important here in about 20 years, but it's not here. He appealed to Massachusetts Senator David Walsh, who arranged for him to be assigned to the South Pacific. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot tell you how stupid it would be to beg to be put in the South Pacific in 1943. Not with what the Japanese Navy was doing in the South Pacific in 1943.
But why do you think why?
Well, and ironically, Deuce, I'm going to mention this.
Yeah.
The South Pacific was actually World War II actually began in the Pacific sphere in 1931 when the Japanese would invade Manchuria in China. And so they already had all of their boats set up. They had their naval blockades. They had everything in Southeast Asia, in the South Asia Sea, ready to use. Very intelligent. Very, very intelligent. And they defeated the Russians in 1904 and 1905 in the Sino-Russian War.
Baby, chess. Yes.
So the Japanese were well equipped, and in 1943, saying that you wanted to go into hostile territory against the Japanese Navy was not a good idea. In the world that compete with the Japanese would be that of the United States. But remember, in 1943, we're in the process of rebuilding ships that got bombed at Pearl Harbor, or trying to replace those ships because they lost that hardware and that capability. By the way, the current value of the United States Navy is estimated at anywhere between 3 and 500 billion, or no, that's not right.
Which is down. Our Navy ships are down compared to where they need to be.
$3 of naval equipment that we don't use. So
well, and still our Navy is down bad compared to where it should be.
Yeah. So the Navy won us a lot of wars, but what the hell do I know? And that's where my sister and brother-in-law met. So again, what the hell do I know? Kennedy's assigned to the Motorboat Torpedo Squadron 2, April the 24th. He takes command. It's based on, I'm going to say this wrong, Deuce, help me out, Toluga Island, Tulagi, Tulagi, or Tulagi Island in the Solomons.
Tulagi.
So this is where he becomes really famous. On the night of August 1st and 2nd, in support of the New George campaign, the PT-109 and 14 other PTs were ordered to block or repel 4 Japanese destroyers and float planes carrying food supplies and 900 Japanese soldiers. Intelligence had been sent to Kennedy's commander, Thomas G. Warfield, expecting the arrival of large Japanese naval force. Of the 24 torpedoes fired that night, 8 by the 8 American PTs, not one hit the Japanese convoy. On the moonless night, Kennedy spotted a Japanese destroyer heading north on its return from the base. Around 2 a.m., attempted to turn attack when PT-109 was rammed suddenly at an angle and cut in half by the, what do they call that? Amagiri, killing 2 of the PT crew members. So they avoided surrender. The remaining crew swam towards Flood Pudding Island, 3.5 miles southwest of the remains. And despite re-injuring his back, Kennedy towed a badly burned crewman to the island with a life jacket strapped and clenched to his teeth. Tulaga. Thank you.
Tulaga.
Thank you very much.
Tulaga.
Just from there, Kennedy and his subordinate, Ensign George Ross, made forays through the Coral Islands, searching for help. 7 days after the collision, they were rescued. Almost immediately after, he highly politicized event. Stories chronicled by John Hersey in The New Yorker. The New Yorker in the 1940s was a huge magazine, and decades later, basis of the film. Followed Kennedy into politics, provided a strong foundation for his appeal as a leader. Hersey portrayed Kennedy as a modest, self-deprecating hero. For his courage and leadership, Kennedy was awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal, and the injuries he suffered during the incident qualified him for a Purple Heart. So, educated, connected, political, and now a hero. Now a hero. After a month recovery, Kennedy returns to duty commanding the PT-59. It took part with 2 other PTs in the rescue of 40 to 50 Marines. 59 acted as a shield from the shore. Doctor's orders, Kennedy was relieved of his command on November the 18th. By December 43, with his health deteriorating, he left the Pacific Front and arrived in San Francisco in January. After receiving treatment for his back injury at the Chelsea Naval Hospital, he was released from active duty December 1944. So he did nothing through the year of 1944 in the military. Beginning in January 45, Kennedy spent 3 months recovering from back injury at a resort temporary military hospital in Arizona, and he retired from the Naval Reserve on physical disability March the 1st, 1945, honorably discharged with the full rank of lieutenant. So that, again, makes him even more of a hero.
Can you imagine? It just gave him the discharge with the full rank of lieutenant. I mean,
Yeah. When asked later how he became a war hero, Kennedy joked, "It was easy to cut my boat in half." August 12th, 1944. Now, this is the big deal, because this is why Joe isn't the anointed one. Joe Jr., naval pilot, was killed in an air mission. His body was never recovered.
right.
The news reached the family's home in Hyannisport, Massachusetts a day later. Kennedy felt that Joe Jr.'s reckless flight was partly an effort to outdo him. To console him, Kennedy set out to assemble a privately published book of remembrances of his brother as we remember Joe.
Wow. What a family.
Yep.
And it goes so many deeper, different.
Yeah, that's our notes on Kennedy for tonight.
Yep.
But this is where we can discuss it all, Madusa, since we reviewed it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, everything that man ever did led to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, District of Columbia, Washington. Everything he did. Because we haven't gotten to his political career, but you guys probably know he became a representative and then a senator and then a president. So, my point to say any of that is
he was groomed, definitely.
Groomed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we can use that word because it's, got really negative connotation. But this man,
he was groomed.
Start to finish, was the guy to be somebody. I don't know that Joe Kennedy Sr. knew that he would be president of the United States, but everything certainly was steered that direction.
To be somebody.
Yep.
But I mean, again, he had all those siblings.
Yep.
I mean,
I have
we
a great
could.
Ted Kennedy story. A great Ted Kennedy
Oh
story.
my God. I mean, you got to imagine each child probably went to a boarding school or some type of bunch of colleges. And
Yep.
to even go down, each history of those, just what a web. And what a story. Like you said, Ted Kennedy. Oh my God.
Yeah. So Kennedy, obviously Ted Kennedy, because of who his family was, got away with killing that woman. Drunk
Yes.
driving.
Remember that up there?
Yeah, I don't
They
remember
made a movie of it.
No, I don't remember it because I wasn't alive. But
no, I meant the whole story, and then they made the movie of it. And that's, it's kind of funny how they ended and how that ended there. Because I feel that his brother, I think this family was so well, so many things were so hidden and so well hidden that, I mean, I don't even know if I believe the story about his brother dying the way he did. I mean,
Right.
Joe Jr., all the way from, we're going to talk about, Kennedy, John, all the conspiracies there. Everything is wiped out. Like everything is just cleansed and cleaned. And there's you can't find any truth. They just wipe it out.
Yeah. So every one of them was groomed to hold some public office. Now, all three brothers that were alive, John Kennedy, RFK, and Ted Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, they all ran for president of the United States. And only John became president because RFK was assassinated. He certainly would have become president in 1968. Ted Kennedy, this is the fun story I told you I'd tell y'all. So my grandmother, that I've talked about on this show before, was one of the delegates to the National Convention in 1976, and one of the leaders of the Iowa Democratic Party. So she helped Carter beat Gerald Ford in 1976 to become president. Iowa was a big state for that particular election. So in 1980, because Carter is doing so poorly, Ted Kennedy challenges him for the Democratic nomination. And Ted Kennedy had buttons, and I've got them somewhere, that said, "We're going to kick his ass." This is genuinely the truth. He had a button made that said, "We're going to kick his ass," talking about Jimmy Carter, the peanut farmer from Georgia. So my grandmother, as one of her responsibilities, was to bring the candidates in and have them speak to people. And one of these places she did this was Iowa Beef Packers. So in the 1970s and 80s, Iowa Beef Packers was a big labor union in Sioux City, Iowa, that would later be sold and bought by Tyson Chicken. But at this time, the labor union had a lot of sway. Like if wherever the union went, who they supported was going to win the district that my grandmother lived in.
Like the mafia.
Yeah. So anyway, they get Kennedy from the airport. He's drunk as fuck. Like he can't even function. Like he's totally wasted. And they drive him, and my grandma's so embarrassed because everybody knows she's brought him here and whatever. Well, they get him to the podium at Iowa Beef, and he puts his hands on both. She loved telling this story. He put his hands on both sides of that podium, and for the next 45 minutes, delivered a stump speech, completely drunk, and you would have never known. He gives the speech in closing marks. Everybody claps, blah, blah, blah. They stand up. It's time for him to leave. He staggers off of the stage because he's so drunk. But for those 45 minutes, he was money.
Once a performer, always a performer.
She loved telling that story because she said he had been drinking the whole time he was on the plane. And from Massachusetts to Iowa or whatever, that's a long-ass flight because you're not just, whatever. I don't care if you're Ted Kennedy or not. But she was so embarrassed because she was that type of person that just, he shows up drunk, she's taking responsibility for it, whatever. But Ted Kennedy, we're going to kick his ass. Here's a spoiler, folks. He did not beat Jimmy Carter in the 1980 election for the presidency, and then Carter got rolled by Ronald Reagan. So,
oh my God,
how that ended. But
wait a minute, Fernando's got a dividing the Democratic Party was a stupid move by Ted Kennedy.
A stupid move, Fernando, that you probably know Ronald Reagan avoided in 1976. So Reagan had 1024 electoral votes, or representative votes, super votes, delegates, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And Ford had just over 1,100, and they didn't have the threshold, or 1076 maybe it was, and they didn't have the threshold. So Reagan allowed Ford to run in 1976 against Jimmy Carter. But he was very close to winning the nomination. But instead of dividing the party, they went ahead and let it go. Now, to your point, Ford was not an elected president. He was appointed because Spiro Agnew resigned during the Nixon Watergate scandal. So, only unelected vice president and president in history, Gerald Ford.
So back up a second. So what was his decision making for him not to split the party?
He did not want to split the party because Ford was the standing or sitting president of the United States.
Right. Okay.
It had been for a couple of years. So that was Reagan. Reagan actually ran for president 4 times, and he lost twice. He lost in 68 to Nixon, and he lost in 76 to Ford. He did not run, obviously, against Nixon in 72, but he did win in 1980. So, Ronald Wilson Reagan.
Unbelievable. Guys, we're just getting our feet wet there, so we're definitely going to carry this out. I just wanted a good back history so basically, who they were, where they came from, how they were bred, how the family thought, did, ate, slept, manipulated as we continue.
Well, and we haven't gotten to it yet, Deuce. I see poor Jackie Kennedy. She went through a lot since she married into the family. So Fernando brings up a great point, and we haven't gotten there yet.
A planned marriage.
Even the marriage was part of the deal.
Yes.
So, spoiler, folks, even the marriage. So he goes to boarding school, he goes to college, he works as his father's an ambassador, he goes into the military, he becomes a publicized hero. John Kennedy is the reason the Manchurian Candidate is a thing, in my opinion. And we're going to continue this conversation because, again, like the Manchurian Candidate, you all know how it ends, November 22nd, 1963, they took his ass out.
Wow. Oh, direct.
Took his ass out. So, there it is.
Well,
she's looking at her phone. Look at Madusa. She's looking at her phone.
I'm looking at my dates.
You're looking at your dates. Again? Okay, so next week, I'm on vacation. Again. The 17th, 18th, 19th, and of course the 20th is Easter, so that's a no-fly zone.
17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, that's also what? WrestleMania?
WrestleMania weekend.
Uh-huh. So nothing next week. So we'll have to do a follow-up after WrestleMania.
Okay, we can do that. I don't have my schedule for that yet.
We can do Earth Day on the 22nd.
Well, I don't know if I'll be available on Earth Day.
Oh, just come barefoot, will you please?
Nah, I'm wearing socks and shoes right now because you love that.
I'm barefoot, so there's that.
Oh, my. Well, LBJ can't be having any bitches in his midst. Winter's on top of things over here. She's talking about LBJ, your favorite.
LBJ.
Madusa feels about LBJ like she does Britt Baker. Completely useless. I said that, not Madusa.
Oh, my God. Yes, you
You're not
did
even
say.
paying attention, so I just took advantage of the fact that you weren't even paying attention.
All right. Okay, so there's that. All right, so we're gonna find out for the 22nd, guys. We'll let you know. Don't forget about Thursday tomorrow night at 10 o'clock is Twitch.
Twitch. What
I love
game are
my
you
new
playing?
game. I love my new game.
What is it?
I don't know. What's the name of it again? Mortis, the Oingo Boingo. What's that fucking game that Digi gave me? It was good. BioShock. Thank you. Oingo Boingo. It's BioShock.
BioShock. I've never heard of it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist or it's a good game. I just
It
have never heard.
exists and it's a good game. Yeah. So we'll see a lot of you there tomorrow. And thank you. Gosh, that was a great history lesson. Definitely. It's good. I mean, it is so cool to know and learn and refresh, or I mean, just how things were strategically done is just mind-boggling to
Well,
get to where we're at today.
I will thank you because I can tell you this: as I start to do the research and read these things come back to me that I haven't thought about since I was in college.
Well, I bet that's stimulating.
And no, it is. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, I'm genuinely appreciative because we start talking about Cold War and conspiracy and geopolitics and the chessboard and all this other stuff. We're gonna have a really good time.
Really good time.
Wait until we talk about how they split up Africa.
Oh, Jesus. Africa is not even where it was. I mean, America is not even where it was. So there's that.
The good news is the earth is flat. So.
Oh, fuck. Here we go.
Hey, you keep talking about my red food dyes and you put Cheerios on the shit list today. So
Cheerios is on the shit list. It's full of lead, you fuckers. You go ahead and just lick your walls of paint and see what tastes better.
You know they
Cheerios or
haven't
that.
used lead paint by EPA guidelines
I know
like
for a
the
long time.
1970s.
Do you know why they won't let you use lead paint? It's not because kids went over there and chipped it and fucking ate it. You really honestly think kids lick the goddamn walls with lead paint? It's because when you painted your walls with lead paint, nowadays they're not going to be able to see in your house to see how much fucking money or anything you got. The infrared bullshit can't get through fucking lead walls.
Where is my tinfoil? That's all I need to know.
I thought we were going to wear tinfoil hats next time. Okay.
We definitely need to. What is this? So if you force someone Cheerios, are you pumping them full of lead? Yes, Mortis. Yes. That is fantastic. So I don't know if you guys follow Madusa on Twitter. So I'll send her our show like, hey, this is what we're going to do tonight. And she might retweet it or she might not. Today she retweeted it. And then she followed it up with 3 or 4 protests of what are in food that people really like a chewy granola bar is on her shit list. Cheerios is on her shit list. And there was one other thing I cannot remember, but Madusa rocks on Twitter for a good laugh and education too. Because it did make me laugh when I saw Cheerios. I'm like, oh, she fucking didn't.
Yes, wait, I'm going for Cocoa Puffs next.
I told you to leave my fucking Cocoa Puffs and my
dude, your Cocoa Puffs are getting hit hard.
Yeah.
So if you go on my X account right now, y'all, I mean, look at that poor shit. I just, looked up some stuff. And I mean, yuck.
Yeah, she's on. You got it, winner. Chewy and Cheerios. You both are on. You both can have them on your shit list together. I told her to leave my Cocoa Puffs alone. I'm sure they're fucking awful for you. And you know what's even worse for you is the Cocoa Puffs with the marshmallows from the
That's not even marshmallows. It's fucking PVC.
Exactly. But you know why it's bad for you? Because some fucking stoner came up with it because he was high one night and only had enough of each cereal for half a bowl. And that's how he found the fucking chocolate Cocoa Puffs with the marshmallows. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God. It has
totally invented by a stoner.
Trisodium phosphate. It's like a pesticide in your fucking food. Like it causes cancer. It's bad.
Well, I've started shopping at Aldi not because of their health, but because of their prices.
Oh, okay. I mean, hey, we're all here to save a bucks. I mean, the fucking eggs are like golden goose eggs, you know?
Shit, you ain't lying. We got 24 of them the other day for $9, and I thought it was a steal.
Was it organic?
No, God, no. They're all dyed and shit. You know they are.
Wow.
The yolks are really nice and big.
When
and
you
pretty.
open up your egg cartons and all the eggs are white and they're all the same size, fucking run.
Yeah,
you should be
sorry.
opening up an egg carton and there should be all different sizes and different splotches of color, and those are real eggs.
Fernando's my man right here. Except you can't eat too many of them because they'll rough up your top of your mouth. I enjoy Crunch and Berries, LOL. That would be Captain Crunch.
As a kid, I was a Fruit Loop fan.
You know she's gonna fuck you up, Fernando, because she's gonna send some shit out there now about
Crunch Berries. Captain Crunch. Are you talking about Captain Crunch?
Yeah, Captain Crunch with the fruity berries.
Captain Crunch and Cocoa Berries. Y'all are gonna be fucking running.
Yeah. She's gonna mess us all up now because we mentioned it to her. Damn, Cocoa Puffs are gonna be on the shit list. So.
Yeah, literally shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, we'll let you know about the 22nd. Have a great week and a half or whatever. Happy WrestleMania weekend. And we'll talk about what I'm doing out there, since it's kind of a hush-hush thing, besides signing at the Nerd and going to the last match. That's what it's called. The musical's called The Last Match. And yeah, it was a fun stream. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone that participated, especially my mods. You guys are always a hoot.
The mods and all of our regulars like Fernando and Steve.
Yeah.
There are regular supporters. Of course, my man from across the pond. We can't do this without you guys. We have so much fun. I want you all, though, to participate a little more.
Yeah.
So we're going to do WrestleMania. So have your stuff ready to shit all over all the triple threat matches. And then my man Darren Walker here. Let's see what you all think of JFK. I think, Deuce, we should do the wedding, his political connections, and then maybe we start with like some Mafia Daily Machine shit from Chicago.
Oh, that'll open up some stuff.
Well, you know, the Daily Machine put him into office in 1960.
It was bought and paid.
He was also the first president ever seen on television like a televised debate.
God, he spoke though with, I mean, he just got your attention. It was good.
Nixon.
That's when everybody loved Democrats.
Nixon had a fever and looked like shit on TV. Plus, he was older and not nearly as handsome as JFK.
Yeah, then there's that.
But
I mean, look how handsome Red is.
But Tricky Dick, yeah, I am gorgeous. Tricky Dick had the pedigree too, though. And we'll talk about it when we talk about the election. He was the governor of California, the vice president to Dwight David Eisenhower, and the assumed future president of the United States. Let's
not forget about the whole Hollywood stuff either. Intertwined.
Not until 68, though.
Okay.
So,
all right. We won't even get to that yet. Okay.
We're not there yet. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it. So thank you.
That's it. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, and we're going to talk to you after WrestleMania. Until then, Paul Heyman, good luck.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.